Hello, welcome back to the channel. We've got another video for you today with our countdown to Christmas. It's now the 22nd of December, just 3 days to go. So if you have been keeping up, the scores are currently 12 points to 9 in favour of the Necrons. The Space Marines really need to do something because it's getting kind of close now. So today we've got the Canoptek Doomstalker going up against the Marine Vindicator. We're going to be comparing 5 general topics. Then there'll be an overall winner for the video. So starting us off, just to compare the points cost is 140 points each, and that will include the Siege Shield for the Vindicator. So let's begin with the comparison with the stat line. Now as we just mentioned, it's going to have the Siege Shield, so the Vindicator is going to have a 2+ armor save against ranged attacks. But comparing the rest of the stats, you can see in green where the Canoptek Doomstalker wins the stat line. Weapon skill's got a 4+. And it's got 12 wounds, whereas the Vindicator has a 3+ ballistic skill and a toughness value of 8, which is pretty mammoth. And it's also worth bearing in mind, once the actual models are degraded, there's a slight difference here. So the Canoptek Doomstalker only goes down to 8-inch movement when it gets bracketed, then 6 inches, which is still much quicker than the Vindicator. And the ballistic skill value of the Doomstalker does never change. It's always at a 4+ no matter what. It's actually the weapon skill that goes down, which isn't as useful because it's not really meant for melee. But overall, I've still got to give it to the Vindicator. That toughness 8 value is massive as mentioned, so it's going to be 1 point to the Vindicator. Now onto the abilities. Living Metal of course to regain a lost wound. Command protocols. It's got the 4+ containment field save, so it's an in-1 save of a 4+, so it doesn't actually have quantum shielding of a 5+, so you can wound this on this in a 4+, but it's still nice to have some sort of in-1 save on this monster unit. Then of course it explodes as it's a vehicle, but it's on a 5+ as opposed to a 6+. And the last ability here, which is quite unique, which is the Sentinel Construct. So each time an enemy declares a charge against a friendly dynasty or dynastic agent unit within 6 inches of the Doomstalker, unless your Doomstalker is in engagement range, it can actually fire Overwatch as if it was the target of the charge. So this is in addition to any units that are going to also be firing Overwatch. And it will be using its high profile weapon as well. Then as for the Vindicator, quite boring, Angels of Death and explodes, nothing really of note there, so it's an easy point there for the Canoptek Doomstalker. As for damage output, so it's got the Doomsday Blaster, which you want to be firing on the high powered variant, because it's got a 48-inch range, heavy D6, strength 10, -5 AP, and the damage is D6. Now both variants have the blast ability, so if it does get tagged in combat, it's going to be kind of useless, but firing against those larger units it will also benefit. Now if you're going to get toughness 5 or less with the high powered variant, you're going to get an average of 3.5 shots because it's got D6 shots, totaling 1.75 hits on average again, and it's going to cause 1.45 wounds, and this is all pre-armor save. Then if you take that to toughness 6 or more, the wounds caused goes up to 1.16 pre-armor save. So what I'm trying to say is you can almost expect a wound to go through with this thing on average, unless the enemy unit's got an in-1 save, because it does have a -5 AP, but of course in-1 saves are going to block that. On top of that, it's got the Twin Gorse Flayer, 24-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 4, -1 AP, 1 damage. You're not going to do much with it. A light infantry weapon at best. Maybe you'll take off a wound or so. Now the Vindicator's got the Demolisher Cannon, which is also a blast weapon, but it's only 24 inches. It's heavy D6, strength 10, -3 AP, and the damage is D6. So it's got the same strength and the same damage as the Doomsday Blaster, and it's also a blast weapon, so again getting caught in combat is going to be a bit of a hindrance. Now when you're taking the examples that we did earlier, going up against toughness 5 or less, pre-armor save, now you're hitting on 3s rather than 4s because Canoptek units always hit on 4s, so you're going to get 2.3 hits and cause about 1.9 wounds, and going up against toughness 6 or more, that wounds is going to go up to 1.55, so slightly more than the Canoptek Doomstalker can do, pretty much because of that ballistic skill really. And then it's got some further options that you could take. Now we haven't included this for fairness of the points. You could take a Hunter Killer Missile, which is a strength 10 weapon, and a Storm Bolter as well if you wanted to, which kind of matches what that Twin Gorse Flayer does. But yeah, we're not going to add that one. It's already winning the point for me. Damage output is slightly better on a Vindicator, although it will be at a less range. Got to bear that in mind. Now in terms of synergy, when you pick in your dynasties for your Doomstalker, the Mefrit Dynasty to add range or the Zarkin Dynasty to reroll a single wound roll are probably the handiest ones there. From the custom codes, Eternal Conquerors for that objective secured, or Masters of the Martial to get a reroll to your hit roll. And then from the second list, Healthy Paranoia, add 3 inches again, all relentlessly expansionist, just to get your Canoptek Doomstalker potentially onto an objective or into cover, or maybe even just better line of sight on an enemy unit. Unit synergy wise, you got the Technomancer using the Canoptek Control Node, which is an aura for Canoptek units within 6 inches to +1 to their attack hit rolls. So now that Doomstalker is going to be hitting on 3s. I think the Technomancer is almost a must include if you're taking Doomstalkers because of their bad ballistic skill. You can also use a Triarch Stalker for that targeting relay. Target an enemy unit with the Triarch Stalker first, then you reroll all your hit rolls of a 1. Stratagem wise, you've got Revenge of the Doomstalker. which is unique to the Doomstalker of course. If one of your characters is destroyed in any phase, you select a Doomstalker, and at the end of the phase, the model can shoot as if it was your shooting phase and target that enemy unit that slayed your character. And furthermore, you're going to get a +1 to hit against that said unit as well. So a free shooting phase there for you for your Doomstalker. But it will be 2 command points, which is a little bit pricey for me. Now, as for chapters for your Vindicator, there's plenty here. You know what they all do if you play these chapters. You can also take the smokescreen stratagem because it's got the smokescreen keyword, so you can effectively have a -1 to hit for your Vindicator when it's targeted. If you want to put an in-1 save on your Vindicator, you get a Librarian with a Psychic Fortress, or if you want to heal wounds, you get your Tech Marine or a Master of the Forge, depending on which one you've taken, and you'll be healing wounds that way. So overall for the synergy, I'm going to give it to both of them. Both of them lack synergy in my opinion. Neither of them are core units. You could slightly argue the case for the Canoptek Doomstalker with the Technomancers, but there's other characters in the Marine Codex that are going to help a Vindicator, like a Tech Marine for example, so for me it's a split decision on that one. As for resiliency, we've spoke about the Vindicator Siege Shield for the +1 to the saving throw against ranged attacks. The Canoptek Doomstalker's got the Living Metal ability to regain a lost wound. It's also got a 4+ in-1 save, which is actually massive, whereas the Vindicator doesn't have an in-1 save, but the Canoptek Doomstalker is only toughness 6, whereas the Vindicator is toughness 8. And with that Siege Shield on top, it's almost just about as resilient as a Doomstalker. So again, I'm going to be splitting the points there, straight down the middle. In fact, that ends the topics, and I've scored this 4 points to 3 in favour of the Marine Vindicator. Very close on the last 2 topics there with the synergy and resiliency. I just couldn't split it. So that in fact brings the total scores 12 points to 10 in favour of Team Necrons. There's still 3 days to go and there is a 2-point difference, so it's anyone's to take. You'll have to let me know in the comments how you would have scored this one and what your tally is overall. And if you've actually missed any of the previous videos, go back and check them out and let me know how you've scored it all. All that's left to say guys is remember to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.